Do we need to approve the agenda?
Yes.
That's
Sorry.
1.2.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'd like to welcome everyone to the July 14th Croton Harmon Board of Education work session. And we will start moving right into our action items before we head to our retreat this evening. So 1 point, I will add in 1.2.
Yes.
Yep.
Recommended action that the Board of Education approves the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Actually, there's just one thing to keep in mind, as we noted earlier. There is a 2.3 that's missing, so
Correct.
we really should consider 2.4 as 2.3 or just whatever.
Correct. We will.
Thank
Those
you,
should be
Nita.
shifted.
Yeah.
2.3,
That can be
2.4, and
corrected.
2.5.
And
Okay.
2.6. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll move on to new business and recommended action that the Board of Education approves the Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES contract in the amount of $861,380 for services provided by Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES to the Croton Harmon Union Free School District during the 2020-2021 fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
On the question?
I just have one quick question, probably for Denise. This is a new board member question, Denise, and it's just if you could just highlight for me what in the BOCES budget there, the $75,720 $720 figure is. It says for publicity, and if you could just highlight for the community what that is.
Actually, Beth, this contract is rather confusing. That is what we paid last year for communications and public relations. And
Okay.
that's on a daily basis. So that actually the contract for this year is about $40,000 lower than last year because of those per diem services.
Specifically on that item.
Yeah.
You're saying it's 40,000 lower for that item.
It's
public.
40,000 lower because we don't have that factored in. We've also pulled out some of our field trips because once you contract for the service, you are locked in. So in light of COVID-19, we've decided to refrain from signing up for some services that we normally do, like environmental field trips, et cetera. And then we'll reassess in September.
Great. And then one other quick question on BOCES is what's the year-over-year increase and the biggest drivers, if there is an increase?
So the year over year, this year is lower, as I mentioned, because we pulled out some services. There was a 25% increase in capital. So the admin and capital fees are mandatory fees for being a part of the cooperative service. So BOCES had some capital upgrades, and that resulted in about a 25% increase. It was only on, $25,000. So it sounds significant, but it was only about 5,000 overall, but that did impact us. Also, we had a very large jump in career and tech, which is occupational services, students that go for cosmetology, mechanics, etc. So we went up considerably in that area, and career and tech itself represents 60% of the contract. In addition to that, we have special ed, which is about another 27%. We have our financial services, our HR software, regional recruitment, labor negotiations, safety and security. That piece is about 7% of the contract. And then we have curriculum development, which is another 5% on top of that. But overall, year to year, it's lower. I don't expect that to be the case at the end of the year, but right now, as it stands, because we've refrained from some services, it is lower.
Great.
I have a question.
Sure.
Which is probably for, I guess, any of the administrators, which is for the career in tech. When we have gone to virtual learning, for the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year and what might be anticipated if we have distance learning and in part or wholly come September. How does career and tech education work? Because that's very hands-on, whether it's cosmetology or auto mechanic or whatever. What do they do?
So that, I mean, maybe John wanted to chime in, but I will tell you for the fall, the BOCES are working closely with the superintendents in our weekly meetings to basically see where each district is going to end up with their programming for the fall. And then they will need to make some critical decisions based on that as to how they'll offer any of their services. I don't want to just talk CTE. So it's a great question, Neil. And as a matter of fact, Lou, who will be with shortly, has promised that he will begin meeting with principals or communicating with principals as we move closer to landing on whatever our designs will be for each district, to continue that conversation on what it would look like for the fall. So that's a really big question mark at this point on what it would look like. But they too were in virtual worlds, asynchronously, synchronously, et cetera, in the spring. But moving forward, it's very important that they're part of our conversations so they can see, get a pulse where all districts are.
Visible light has more energy than radio.
Hey,
Okay,
Jo-
well,
Josh, I think Josh has
that's
joined us
another
as well.
conversation, perhaps even at task force tomorrow about how that works, but that's fine.
Yes, the BOCES piece, though, they're still figuring that out. Jim Ryan, Lynn, as you'll meet tonight, and Lou.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Great. Thank you for the.
I'm going to
added information.
abstain from that. Excuse me. I'm going to abstain from that because I didn't hear the first part of the description. So I'm going to abstain.
Understand.
Okay.
And welcome, Josh. All right, so we will move on to item 2.2. Recommended action that the Board of Education approves the CTA side letter of agreement as presented.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose?
Aye.
Abstain? Motion carries. All right. Recommended action that the Board of Education, this would be 2.3 versus 2.4 as stated on the agenda. Recommended action that the Board of Education approves an annual stipend of $3,000 for the deputy treasurer position.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Right. We're now 2.4. Recommended action that the Board of Education appoints Barry Gamzon as the district treasurer and at an annual salary of $90,000 prorated, effective July 27th, 2020. Mr. Gamzon will work 2 transition days prior to his start date at the per diem rate.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. All right, and that concludes the action items and new business
No.
we needed to take care of.
Nope.
Oh, nope, I'm sorry.
Benefit
I missed one. Skipping ahead. All right, so now this will be changed from 2.6 to 2.5. Recommended action that the Board of Education approves the 2020-2021 benefit agreement for Barry Gamzon, District Treasurer, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. All right, now we will head into our work session. So that concludes the public portion of our meeting this evening with our new business action items. And we will now move into executive session. And so thank you to any community who joined us for this portion. Recommended action that the Board of Education enters into executive session for the purpose of the board retreat.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. All right, everyone, I will see you in that second Zoom link in from Tracy's email.